Okay, yes, this is Warrior 2. It is the simple version of what this is it's a boysenberry wheat beer. So, like, what does that mean a little bit? It's a fruited wheat, okay? A wheat beer, just to break that down a little bit, is normally the majority of our beers are made mainly of barley, which is a type of cereal grain. In a wheat beer, we add in anywhere from 20 to 60% wheat instead of that barley, or I guess in addition to that barley. So if anybody asks, like, what's a wheat beer? You can say that, like, it's a beer where we use a partial amount of wheat in the brewing of the beer. Within wheat beers, how many people have heard of wheat beers before this? Right? Like everybody. Okay. Did you know that there are three main types of wheat beer? We have American wheat, German wheat, and Belgian Witbier. Okay? This falls into the category of a Belgian Witbier, but it's a non-traditional wit beer because it's got the fruit addition to it. So it's kind of like a take on a classic, and the idea here is to make it very approachable for a large number of people and to create basically like a really nice summery beer that people can just kind of like, house and it's great. Yeah, that's it. That's kind of the background on like what's going on in the beer. So let's do our normal like thing where we like look at aroma and taste. Spoiler alert's going to be there's a bunch of boysenberry and it's going to be tough to get past that. But let's do it anyway and see if there's anything beyond that you can get because I've noticed a few things in the last few days. You taste bubblegum. Okay. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's going to be due to that Belgian wheat or that Belgian yeast. So this is the same yeast that we're using on the Belgian line. So stuff like Cedar Canoe or any of the Belgians that we've had on that preceded that. This is the same yeast. And sometimes that expresses itself. There's something called esters in the yeast that express themselves as like a bubblegum or banana flavor. Yeah. Great sniff. Okay, what else? Anything from like beer consistency? Yeah, that's a great idea. Like get a smell of it. We should do that every time, actually. Because you can get a lot from beer just based on the aroma. Like oftentimes, like if I don't feel like ingesting a beer, because every time you do that, you're gonna get at least a little bit of ethanol in you. Unless you spit, which is like gross. So like, oftentimes, it's not really appealing if you like look at me behind the glass back there and I'm spitting stuff onto the ground. Like, so oftentimes what I'll do is I'll just get the aroma of the beer, and that is enough a lot of the time to kind of get what you're after. If you're looking for other things like mouthfeel, yeah, then you gotta indulge a little bit, but like, yeah. Okay, speaking of mouthfeel, what are we getting there? Is it soft? Is it like a hard carbonation? Like what are we feeling? Soft carbonation. Okay, for sure. Okay, yeah, that's a perfect. Yeah, it's a great comparison. So it's like Sprite, Coke to a degree, but Sprite's like a really good one. We have those kind of like hard bubbles. Sprite is a beverage that's like very aggressively carbonated. Beer carbonation, for the most part, should not be reminiscent of soda carbonation. It should always be a little bit softer. And then we have a spectrum within beer carbonation. So on a beer like this, we want the carbonation to be kind of soft as we've described it. That's going to come through as like very tight bubbles. When you look at the bubbles on top of the beer, they should be very small. And then like the carbonation shouldn't kind of like bite you. We're looking for kind of just like a nice like lay it on like a pillowy kind of carbonation and mouthfeel in this. And a lot of that And a big reason why wheat beers have been popular both, in the old world, so like Europe and branching off to other places, but also in the new world with like American wheat beers, is the wheat gives the beer a little bit more viscosity, which softens that reaction with carbon dioxide, and also just it creates kind of like a softer feel. I use a lot of wheat in our hazy IPAs to create that more pillowy feel, especially against the more aggressively hopped IPAs that we have, like the Cure, like Adrenaline Dump, in order to make that a more palatable beer. So we've got the same kind of thing going on here in the wheat beer, and that should ultimately make it like a really easy drinking, pleasant beverage. Okay, it's a lot of pontificating from me. This has been on tap for a little while. What are you guys hearing in the tap room? How are you selling it? How have you kind of been organically characterizing this beer to people?
I usually say it's light and bright.
Light and bright? That's awesome.
Which is true, but it's like a good summertime beer.
Yeah, I'd say summer in
Totally.
a glass.
Yeah.
Summer in a glass. That's great.
Super popular. It is
It
very
is.
popular.
Okay.
They're easy to play. Love it.
Excellent. Love that. We'll do a few more of these this before the summer's done, with some different fruits. They're all going to have yoga pose names. That's kind of like the line that we're taking with this one, which is fun. I was telling Colleen this morning, so maybe it's interesting to people, is like the reason that the yoga names happen is my wife like dragged me at first to yoga for the first time this winter, so I've been on a yoga journey, as it were, and I'm surprising myself by liking what I'm finding there. So like this is kind of, we're trying to like encapsulate that, like the fruited wheat, which is fun and light, and like kind of going for that angle, both in the character of the beer and like in what we're naming it, and also like who I think this beer is like really going to appeal to. That's all kind of mixed in there in the thinking behind this one.
It's a fun selling thing, guys. Very fun selling thing.
I'm really glad to hear that it's going well so far. Any instances of it not going well? I mean, let's not just pat ourselves on the back here if we need to self-examine it all.
Everybody's really excited about the color too.
Yeah.
The color,
I've
okay.
had it in my hand a few times, and a lot of people who are walking by, what is that you're drinking? You know.
Nice,
And you gotta
that's
tell 'em
fun.
It's Warrior too. And
That's
it's,
fun.
It's pink. It's light. It's great.
It's kind of reminiscent of Sakura a little bit when we had
I've noticed
Sakura
a
on.
lot that like a lot of tables that get like one will get the sour and one will get the Warrior 2, and like the blackberry sour next to Warrior 2 is just a very beautiful like coloration.
Oh, that's fun,
of
yeah.
beer. Yeah.
Those are, if they get the Warrior 2 and a flight, they always get the sour. too,
Right.
I've noticed.
They're just like very pretty next to each other.
Nice.
And like people already love the beer just upon dropping it at the table and looking at it, which I think is super cool because like you've already won them over just by like the the presentation.
Yeah, that presentation is
Yeah.
seems to be like half the battle.
It's amazing what the eye will teach, or what the eye will convince your palate and your brain of.
And it's just fun to kind of like wow people, I think, like at the table, and like help cultivate that, like when they come in here it's like a special and unique experience, like even within the experience of being here in this environment is like we're like within that, like River Trail is also like a like a wow experience for people, and it's important to like not forget that too. It's like when people come in here, they're often experiencing it for the first time, or they've like read on a Google review, hopefully, that like they're looking at the 5-star ones and not the other ones, that like this is a place that people really put the care into, and that it's a different experience that's gonna set, it's worthwhile driving out here or coming here or spending an afternoon here, and like that to me is like what's really exciting about being here and putting energy and time, which we're all doing, into this. yeah, that's what gets me stoked. Glad to see that there's
I
some
think I've had a lot of people, first timers this weekend from Connecticut, Jersey area, and
Cool.
they all commented on our variety of tap list, that it's not all IPAs, it's not all lagers, it's not all light beers, not all dark beers, and that I've got a lot of kudos on the variety on your tap list. So
Nice. And that's also a testament to the team too. Everybody's kind of had some input in what's on tap, and the fact that we have Utica Club on tap as well is that's a testament to kind of that we're for everybody.
it's respecting all palates and all beer styles.
Exactly.
Instead of pushing your style on other people, you allow them to enjoy what they like. So.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely had a moment on the other side of the glass the other day where I saw a lady drinking a Modelo, and my first thought, as a brewer with my, nose in the air, is to be what the hell are you doing? You're drinking a Modelo out of the bottle when a clear bottle at that, when we've got, all of this stuff on tap. And then I took a second and I'm saw her laughing and enjoying herself and having a good time with her husband, and it's well, that's really what it's about,
Yeah, to each their own.
Yeah, totally. And it's if they want to come in here and have a Modelo, great. If they want to come in here and have Fireball, fantastic. And if they want to try one of our very meticulously crafted Belgian beers, that's fine too. But yeah. Okay, right. Now enough self-aggrandizement. I think it's time to wrap this thing up. Any other questions or anything? Comments? Concerns?
I did have a table ask when River Light would be coming back on tap. If it would be.
River Light will be coming back on tap.
They were very upset when they saw that it was gone.
I had people come in the next day, and that was the day that we took it off. They're the light one, and I was these are the light ones. He said, no, River Light. I said, oh, sorry.
They were willing it.
Yeah. No, they didn't even open the menu. They knew what they wanted.
Yeah.
Just a quick word on that though before we wrap up, because we do need to wrap up, but that's a challenge, right? The nature of what we do around here is we have rotating taps, and sometimes I have to take things off a tap because it goes out for distribution, all this stuff. So we're doing the best we can to keep the hits on tap. There's a lot of factors that go on behind the scenes that sometimes prevent that. When somebody comes in and their favorite beer is not on tap, and we've talked about this in the past, so I won't beat it to death, but always important, as I'm sure you do, to pivot that to something that we do have on tap that's pretty similar, which is kind of part of the reason that we do these tasting notes, so that we can talk about it fluidly and be able to redirect this one's also awesome. Omakase, great recommendation for somebody who's a little butthurt about River Light not being on tap. Okay, sweet. Thank you, everybody. Have a great shift.
All right, guys, really quick for the floor today. There is a big Pride event going on at the Riverfront Park, or whatever they call that park